Welcome to today's class on Dotloop 101. My name is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing, and I'll be taking you through the Dotloop basics today. So today's class is made for those of you who have maybe never been in Dotloop before, or if you're a Dotloop beginner and you have little experience in it, it'll be a slower paced class to help familiarize you with all the tools that you have available in your Dotloop account. So first question is, how do I get to my Dotloop account? So what you're going to want to do is actually go to mykw.kw.com. And that's where I am on my screen here. Again, that is mykw.kw.com. You'll see that at the very top of my browser here, the browser bar. That is a great website to go ahead and bookmark on your computer. If you have your bookmark saved on your browser, you'll actually go to mykw.kw.com to access most all of your KW tech tools. So you'll be going to the site quite a lot. And your computer might automatically log you in. If not, you'll need to put in your username and password here. Just a heads up, your username is generally something like your first initial, last name, and maybe a number if your last name's a little more on the common side. It is not case sensitive, your username. However, your password is case sensitive. Now, I know you have a million passwords to remember for everything, so if you have no idea what your password is, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. Let me go ahead and send out our support email address so you guys have this. support@scottleroymarketing.com. We strive to answer emails back between 5 to 10 minutes, even a minute sometimes, as quickly as possible during normal business hours so we can get your password all straightened out for you. So again, this password is case sensitive. You can click Remember My Username right here, and let's go ahead and click on this green login button. And that will take you right into your myKW account. Now, upon logging in, the main place that you'll really focus your attention at the beginning of learning your KW technology is this e-edge control panel box on the top center of your screen. You'll see My Leads, My Marketing, and My Transactions. Okay, just to get your attention on the top center of your screen, we're actually focusing on My Transactions for today's class. Now, you'll hear and see Dotloop referred to as both Dotloop and myTransactions. Not to be confused, it's one and the same. So same thing. So to get to your Dotloop account, the best way to do it is actually by clicking this blue link right here that says Start myTransactions. Okay, that is the best way to get into the correct Dotloop account, the one that is connected to your Market Center, and it shouldn't prompt you for further password once you click on Start myTransactions. In theory, it should just take you directly to your Dotloop account. Okay, again, so we are clicking on Start My Transactions. Now, if it does bring you to a Dotloop login page, no worries. You can go ahead and log in with your Dotloop username and password. You should only have to do that one time, and then it should connect to your myKW account, so you won't have to put in further passwords. Yay, one less password to remember. If you're not sure, if it does prompt you for your Dotloop login and you're not sure what that is, again, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. Also, if you're a new agent and we did your myKW setup complete, feel free to search your inbox. We sent you an email with all of your passwords. Again, the subject line is myKW setup complete. It would have all of your passwords there. And that will take you into your Dotloop account right away. Now, before we get going any further, and if your screen looks slightly different, don't be alarmed. I'm going to get everyone on the same page. There is a new Dotloop homepage, so hold tight on that. Before we get started, though, I do want to send out the Dotloop notes that I have in case you prefer to look at notes, written out notes instead of a video, or as you start going with Dotloop. I just wanted to give you notes as well, so let me go ahead and send that out. One second here. This is a shareable link, and it should open in your Google Drive. That should be the correct one here. If you're watching this class recorded, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com, and you can put attention my name, which is Leah, L-E-A-H, and I'd be happy to send you the Dotloop notes right away, so you can use those. All right, so again, of course, if you're watching this live, you can go ahead and click on that link to access the Dotloop notes. You can also do that after class. So now that we're on Dotloop, let me first make sure we're all on the same page and looking at the same screen. Now, as I mentioned, there is a brand new Dotloop homepage that rolled out, I want to say within the last 3 to 6 months, definitely. So if your screen is a black and red and doesn't look quite like mine, don't be alarmed, there's nothing wrong. Let me show you how to get to the new Dotloop home screen. If, on the other hand, your screen does look like mine, great. Hold tight for a second so I can get everyone on the same page. So if you have a slightly different screen that's black and red, if it looks different, let's go ahead and, so what you'll want to do, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to that Dotloop homepage that you're looking at. It's the old Dotloop, and I can always get to that by going over my headshot on the top right and click switch to old Dotloop. So I'm just catching up to you guys. So if your screen does look like this, right, this is the original Dotloop homepage. And to make sure everyone is on the same page, we are simply going to click here. Okay, that it's a slightly darker black bar going across your screen. You'll notice it says click here for early access to the new improved loops page. So let's do just that. Let's click here. And that will take you to the newer Dotloop homepage. Now, if you've been using Dotloop for a little while and you really like the old Dotloop homepage view, you can always navigate back over to that by clicking your initial on the top right or your headshot on the top right and click switch to old Dotloop. I don't know how long it'll be before they permanently move everyone over to this new one, so it doesn't hurt to go ahead and start using the new Dotloop homepage. And the good news is all the navigation shows new loop. Yeah, if you haven't created a loop quite yet, you won't have any loops. I've just done this quite a few times, so I have a bunch of loops, but it's totally normal if you are new to Dotloop not to have any loops, and it will say that no loops are in there, so that's totally normal. And we'll be creating a loop in today's class, a practice loop. So let's answer the next question. What is Dotloop? So what Dotloop is going to be your online filing cabinet. So you're going to have a loop or online file per property that you sell. So for example, if you are representing a client who is selling their home with you and then buying the next home, that's going to be 2 different loops because it's 2 different properties, 2 different transactions. So it's not per the client, it's per the transaction or per the property that you'll have another loop. Okay, so this is where you'll keep all of your files, it's where you'll keep all of your forms, a digital copy, and so forth. And I'll make much more sense of that as we go along. So let's learn a little bit about our Dotloop homepage to start. Let's start talking about these icons on the very top right of your screen, of your Dotloop homepage. And I will be telling you which ones you really want to focus on and where you'll want to take additional notes. So first of all, the reporting icon on the very top looks like a bar graph there. That will show you all of your reports within Dotloop, so your year-to-date sales and any other reports generated automatically by Dotloop. Loops, so this is a big one. This is an icon you'll use quite a bit. So it looks like a smiley face with no eyes there, the icon. So your loops icon will always take you back home, where we are now. So if you're ever lost in Dotloop or just need to get home quickly, this is your friend to do that. Your tasks icon, so the little check mark there. So you can create to-do lists for yourself in all of your loops, so all the items that you need to do to get a listing ready for the market, for example. You can create to-do lists in each of your loops. And this task icon on the very top, though, will show you an overarching to-do list of all of the items you have due in all of your loops combined. So it's a cumulative to-do list for all of your properties. Moving to the right here, we have the People section. People section is kind of like your Dotloop CRM, so it will show you all of the contacts that you've ever worked with in Dotloop. If you do want your Dotloop contacts to be merged with your eEdge contacts, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. We can integrate your Dotloop contacts with your eEdge contacts to help move all of those over. Okay, again, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com and just let us know that you'd like to integrate your Dotloop contacts with eEdge. Moving to the right here are templates. This is a very big one, and we'll be starting class in just a moment here. Templates, that will be all of your blank forms. So you'll want to, all of your Market Center staff graciously puts all of your Market Center forms within this template section here. So you'll have all of the blank forms. If you'd like to print one out, a blank form to bring it on your appointment, this is where you'll go to do that, and I'll be showing you exactly how to do that in just a moment. And before I go further, though, I do want to point out one very, very important thing. So please make sure on the very top left of your account you are seeing the Keller Williams logo, and you want it to say Premium on the top left. Very important. What that means is that you are connected to your Market Center, and you will have access to all of your Market Center forms. If you do not see Keller Williams logo and Premium on the top left of your account, please go ahead and email support@scottleroymarketing.com. We can go ahead and connect your Dotloop account to your Market Center so you can follow along with today's class. Okay. Again, very, very important that we see Keller Williams logo on the top left and that it says Premium, or that means you're not connected to your Market Center and won't have full functionality of your account. All right, so let's come on over to, you'll see a circle on the very top right of your Dotloop home screen. It will either have your headshot or your initials in this circle on the very top right. Let's go ahead and click on that. Clicking on the circle with your initials or your headshot. A few things I would like you to note, your member ID here. So right under your name. If you call Dotloop support, and the Dotloop support number is on this drop down too, and it's on the bottom of every page in Dotloop, they have very extensive support hours. So if you give them a call and enter in this member ID when prompted, it will put you at the front of the Dotloop support queue because you are a Keller Williams Premium member. So you get faster support being with Keller Williams. Excuse me. So go ahead and you can jot down either what your member ID is or how to find that right away. It is on the bottom of every page within Dotloop or by clicking your initial or headshot on the top right. Other things to note, you may see multiple profiles from this screen here. So if you are an agent who has transferred Market Centers or if you're active in multiple Market Centers, you may have multiple Dotloop profiles. If you just have one, that's totally normal. You will only see one there and that's just fine. So where I'd like you to click, let's go ahead and click on My Account. All right, right under your name and member ID, you'll see My Account in blue. So again, we hovered over your headshot or initials on the top right, and then we click My Account from that drop down. Okay, of course, feel free to let me know if I lose you. I'd be happy to catch you up. So let's go ahead and go down this list here and make sure all of our personal information is correct and added. Now, the reason this section here is so important and so helpful is any contact information you enter in about yourself here will autofill onto every single form that you bring into your Dotloop account moving forward. So you don't have to keep filling in your address and phone number and personal contact info. Dotloop does the work for you. So it will absolutely pay off. First things first though, let's go ahead and add your headshot in if you have that. So if you do not already have your headshot loaded in, it will say, this red button will say something like upload photo or add photo. And you can click that. It will search your computer to add your photo in right away. Now it's super important to add your headshot to your Dotloop account because your clients are going to be signing legal documents, and with so much spam going on the internet, it's really important that your clients see a familiar face when signing these legal documents. It makes them feel a lot more comfortable and that this is a legitimate resource. If you don't have your headshot yet, feel free to jot down that you can email it to support@scottleroymarketing.com whenever you do get your headshot. We can add that to your Dotloop account for you, and there's also about 6 different places we add your headshot in throughout your KW technology, so we're more than happy to do that for you. Of course, you'll notice an option to change your password here as well, if you ever need to do that. And let's hop on over to the right side of our screen, these columns, to start working on our contact information. So of course, let's go ahead and make sure our first and last name are in there correctly. Slightly important. Email address. Please go ahead and jot down what your Dotloop email address is. It is very important that you know what your Dotloop email address is. If another agent tries to share a form with you in Dotloop, they have to share it to this email address specifically. Okay? They can't just share it to any of your email addresses. It's really important you know your Dotloop email address. So go ahead and jot that down if you're taking notes in today's class. Moving on down, we have our fax and our phone number. So let's go ahead and add that in. If you don't have a fax at your home office, you can always add in your office fax. Typically, your Keller Williams office will have a fax. If you'd like to add that in, you can go ahead and do that. But mainly we want our phone number in here, our business phone number. All right, e-sign name and e-sign initials. This is how Dotloop will automatically sign your name on all forms. So for example, if your name is William but you go by Bill, you may need to go ahead and put in your e-sign name as your legal name for William. Of course, you can check with your broker in charge on what you need to do for compliance. But if you'd like to sign with your middle initial, for example, you can go ahead and add that in as well. Same with the initials on the right-hand column. Company name, in the very least, let's go ahead and have Keller Williams Realty entered in. You may be required to have your brokerage name entered in, so that's why I have Dash Valentine area here. Of course, check with your broker in charge. They'll be able to tell you if you are required to have your brokerage name on listing agreements or any forms to stay in compliance. And lastly, in this section, we have the job title. Okay, so job title does vary depending on the area that you're in. I know sometimes realtors will go by broker, realtor, a salesperson. It depends on the area that you're in. If you are typing in the word realtor, realtor does always need to be in all caps when you're typing that in. Okay, because it's a trademarked word. Okay, and actually last in this section, your NERDS ID. So if you would like to go ahead and add that in, if you have that on hand, you have a million things to remember as a new agent. So if you put in your NERDS ID right here, Dotloop will autofill that onto every form that you bring into your loop. So it's one less thing for you to remember out the gate. And of course, if you don't have that handy, you can always jot down a note on how we got here and come back at your convenience. For now, though, let's go ahead and scroll to the bottom of our page where we need to put in our address at the very bottom. Make sure your country and time zone are correct at the top of this section, in those drop downs. And go ahead and start putting in your address. Now this will want to be your office address, not your personal home address. If you have no idea what your office address is, feel free to Google it. Google tends to know all, so you can always Google that answer to add that in right away. I'll give you another couple seconds to go ahead and do that, and as you're wrapping that up, just make sure you click the Save button on the very bottom right. Big red Save button. Once you click Save, Dotloop will always give you a yellow bar at the top of your screen letting you know the save was successful. So after you click Save, glance up and look for that yellow bar. All right, one more time, just don't forget to click Save. It's the worst when you do work and then forget to save it. We've all done it. So again, make sure you click Save on the very bottom right. And let's scroll up to the top of our page. We just need to do a little more housekeeping and then we'll get into the quote-unquote fun stuff. So if you can scroll up to the top of your page after saving, and let's click Profiles on the left-hand side in red. So selecting Profiles on the left-hand side in red. Again, if you are in a part of more than one market center, or if you're transferring market centers, you may have multiple profiles on the left-hand side. You may just have one on the left-hand side if you're only a part of one market center. Totally normal either way. But a couple things to do here. Make sure that your phone number and fax number are entered in on the top section here. So again, if I lost you there, we scrolled up to the top of the My Account section, selected Profiles on the left-hand side in red. You'll see a menu there. And let's come on down to these profile details. Now, the main thing that you need to fill in the profile details is actually the agent license number. Okay, so go ahead and put in your agent license number if you have that memorized or if you have that on hand. Again, one less thing for you to have to remember, as Dotloop will autofill this on every form that requires that information. Again, that's on the bottom right of this section of the profile details. We want to add your agent license number. In case you're wondering the difference, broker license number, that would be for your broker in charge. So we want your license number as the agent to be on the bottom right. Scrolling on down, the company and associations here, you should see your market center name right here in the section. That does indicate that you are connected to your market center, and we'll have all of the forms connected to that market center. So that is good. We do want to see that there. But really, in this company section, this is the last piece we'll need to fill in. Company name, make sure we have at least Keller Williams Realty. You may need to add in your brokerage name as well. Again, your broker in charge will let you know for sure if that is required on all your forms to have your brokerage name. Depends on your area. So many fun rules to keep up with. But in the very least, go ahead and put in Keller Williams Realty. And the only other thing we need to fill in is our office address one more time. Unfortunately, that doesn't pull over. So I guess the good news is if you didn't know your office address before, you do now. So go ahead and put in your office address, city, country, state, zip. I know this is a little tedious right now, but as you get going with Dotloop, you'll see how big of a time saver filling all this in at the beginning is, because it will autofill it onto every form that requires your contact information, which turns out to be quite a bit of forms. And as you're finishing up this address information, I'm just going to explain the notification settings underneath it. So take your time, don't feel rushed. I just want to explain all these check marks that you're noticing on the bottom of your screen. Now, these notification settings will notify you within Dotloop and also via email if any of these items are done. So such as your document being shared, or the document being signed, or your signature being required, or compliance review notes received. So these are very important things that you typically need to be notified about. So I would highly recommend, as a new agent, go ahead and leave all of these items checked. If you find that you're getting inundated with Dotloop emails, you can always come back here and toggle your Dotloop notifications. You can uncheck these at any time and click Save on the bottom, and you'll receive less notifications on that item. Out the gate though, let's go ahead and leave those all checked, but now you know where you can come and change that if need be. And once you're all done with this section, let's go ahead and click that red Save button on the very bottom right. So don't forget, one more time, go ahead and click that red Save button on the very bottom right. And again, you'll see that pretty yellow bar confirming the save was successful. I always love to see that. So after we click Save on the very bottom right, let's go ahead and scroll up to the top of our screen. And let's come on up, bring your mouse up to the templates icon. Okay, so that templates icon, it looks like 2 sheets of paper on the top right black toolbar from our screen here. So we are clicking on templates on the very top right. And again, it doesn't show that it's templates. That little word doesn't pop up until I hover my mouse over the icon that looks like 2 sheets of paper. All right, and just a heads up on what we're going to go over now is how to print out blank forms from your Dotloop account. I do not have that written out on the notes, I don't believe. So I would recommend taking notes on this if this is something that you're going to want to do. There are about 4 steps to printing out notes. You can bring that on your appointment. I'm sorry, printing out the forms. So there are times that you'll want to print out blank forms and bring it onto your appointment. So let's say that your client does not believe in electronic signatures. You'll run into that. They feel sketched out about it. So you can, in that case, just print out a blank form and bring it onto your appointment for your client to hand sign it. Or let's say you're not a big fan of technology, and the less you have to deal with technology, the better. I totally get it. In that case, again, you can just print out the blank form and bring it with you so you can hand fill it out. So let me show you how you would do that. So step one, again, we are clicking on the templates icon on the very top right of your Dotloop account. It's the icon that looks like 2 sheets of paper. Okay, and you'll notice once you get on this page, on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of red form sets going down your page. Now, your form sets will look different than mine. Your office staff awesomely adds all of these in for you, so it depends on which market center you are connected to. So on the left-hand side, again, these are form folders. So these hold all of your forms. They're categories for your forms, per se. So what you'll want to do, I'm going to show an example of a listing agreement. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and find the folder that I believe would have a listing agreement in it, and go ahead and click on it. And I will go over these steps again, just so you can jot them down in just a moment here. So first, we're going to click on the red form set on the left-hand side that you believe to have the form that you need in it. Once you click on that, it will underline it in black and highlight it in black, change the verbiage in black, letting you know it's selected. From there, I can scroll up to the very top of my screen where I'll find this red search bar. Once I click on that search bar, it will turn it black so I can type in the keywords I'm looking for. So if I'm searching for a listing agreement, I'm trying to, let's say, put in the word listing, and that will pull up all the forms that have the word listing in the title of the form. So whatever that form is named, you can go ahead and search for that in this top search bar. Okay, you'll just need to click to the right of this little search icon and start typing. If you don't have any docs, that probably means that you're not connected to your market center. Okay, like I was talking about at the beginning of class, it's really important that you see KW Premium on the top left. In order to get that, feel free to go ahead and email support@scottleroymarketing.com, and they can connect you to your market center so you can have access to all of your market center forms. Really important. Again, that's support@scottleroymarketing.com. They'll be able to get you squared out right away. Now, once I find the form that I'm looking for, of course, you can scroll down to search for all the forms that you're looking for. Once I do find the correct form, and if you're unsure, you can, of course, click on that form. It will open that up. But what you'll want to do is click on the 3 drop-down dots to the far right of this form name. And you'll select Download. Okay, once you select download, it will pull it outside of the Dotloop system so that you can go ahead and print that out and bring it with you onto your appointment. So let me go over those steps. I know those were quite a few steps, so let's go over that so you can take notes on it. So step 1, we're clicking on the templates icon, the very top of our screen. It looks like 2 sheets of paper there. Step 2, on the left-hand side, we are scrolling down to click whichever form folder that we think our form sits in. Step 3, use the search bar on the top of your screen to search for the form that you're looking for. And last but not least, step 4, we click the 3 drop-down dots to the far right of that form name to click download. That will pull that form outside of the Dotloop system so you can print that out right away. Please let me know if you have any questions at all on that. I'd be happy to help you through that. So that is how you would go about printing out blank forms. Now, of course, the whole concept of Dotloop is that Dotloop allows you to actually type in your forms and send it to your clients via email so they can click to electronically sign. So definitely a huge time saver to utilize Dotloop in that method. So let me go ahead, let's get started on how to do that. So once you contact support at scottleroymarketing.com, they should be able to go ahead and connect you to the Market Center. Just let them know that you're in the Dotloop class and need access as quickly as possible. And they should be able to do that within a few minutes here. All right, but just a heads up, you can follow along. Yeah, no problem. You should be able to follow along still in class while they're connecting that. All right, so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and click on the loops icon on the very top of our screen, top right, black toolbar. Again, that loops icon kind of looks like a smiley face with no eyes. Cracks me up every time for some reason. So go ahead and click on that loops icon on the top right of our screen. And as we learned at the beginning of class, that will always take you to your Dotloop home screen. So we selected loops on top of your screen. And we're actually going to click on Add Loop. It's a blue button on the very top right. You'll see Add Loop. We're adding a loop. That means we're adding an online file. So you'll do this when you're beginning transactions. All right, Add Loop on the top right. And then I'll take you to 4 steps that you'll need to do to get started on your loop. So first of all, the loop name. If at all possible, you'll want to go ahead and name it the property address. It's how Dotloop works the best. I understand that if you're representing the buyer, you won't know the property address right out the gate. No worries, I'll show you how you can easily change the loop name once it's created. But in today's class, we'll be working on a listing, so if you want to name this 123 Practice Loop or 123 Main Street or your home address, let's go ahead and get a practice loop going in here. Now, whatever you'd like to name the loop. It's always great to have a practice loop in your account so you can practice Dotloop tricks before doing it in front of your clients. So we really just need the first part of the property address. And then you can click Continue on the bottom right. You'll see a blue button there. Clicking Continue on the bottom right. Template. So step 2, it will take you to a template, and that is referring to a loop template. Now this is not absolutely necessary, and not all of you will have loop templates. It depends on your Market Center. Your Market Center staff adds these templates in for you. If you do have templates, it is a great thing to go ahead and select. So if you can click select and you have the option to select a template, you should see different kind of listing or different kind of loop templates, such as for a listing or for a buyer loop, okay? So if you click on one of these, what it would do is it would bring in all the initial forms that you need to get started on your transaction. So it does save you a bit of time, so you don't have to go find those forms. But just to make sure that everyone is on the same page in today's class, I'm going to leave that unselected. Okay, but you can absolutely select a template if you have that available. Again, if you do not have that available, there's nothing wrong with your account. It just means your office staff does not utilize that tool in Dotloop. And let's click Continue on the bottom right. Okay, again, we're clicking on that blue button on the bottom right to come to step 3. Adding a photo. So this is something you can just watch on my screen unless you'd like to add one in. So what this does, it will add a banner photo to your loop of the client's home, let's say. Now I'll show you what that looks like, but Dotloop says that if you take the 10 to 30 seconds it takes to do this, that the client is 5 times more likely to use you again or refer you out because they think, wow, this agent created a personalized website for me to sign my documents. So what you would do is, if you would like to add that in, let's say they're excited about the home they're buying. So you could find a photo of the home online, let's say on the MLS, and save it to your computer. So that would be the first step. It would have to be on your computer. From there, you can click Upload a Photo. It will browse your computer, and you can go to wherever you have that home photo saved and double click on that. All right, it'll pull in that picture of the house, and then that will display on the very top of your loop for your clients to see. Now, it's not very customizable. You can't crop it from here. You can't move it around. It kind of is what it is. It will only show a little sliver of the home. But again, it gives it a more personalized touch. Definitely not a necessary step, but I just wanted to show you do have that available to you. And then you can click Done on the bottom right. So we're clicking that Done button on the bottom right. It will take a second here, and then it will confirm that you are finished. So if you are new to Dotloop, congratulations, you have set up your first loop. First step to earning money. Awesome. So what you want to do from here, you can click View Loop on the very bottom right. You can click on the loop you just created. Both will take you into your loop right away. So again, I'll go ahead and click View Loop on the bottom right. And that will take me to my loop. Just a heads up, on the notes it does tell you those steps there on how to create your loop. Now, as we're in our Dotloop account, a big question that we get now is, great, I created a loop, now what do I do? All right, so first of all, let me take you through the main sections of your loop that you'll want to point attention to, and then we'll get started on where you should be starting in your loop every time. So first of all, the top section here, you'll see the document section. So in this document section, this is where you'll be spending most of your time within your loop. This is where you'll be adding forms to your loop. It's where you'll be preparing the forms, typing in your forms, and sending that to your client via email so they can sign it. Okay, so this is where you'll spend most of your time, in the document section. Scrolling on down, you'll see the people section. So you can scroll to the bottom of your screen. Okay, and in that section there, in this people section, you will see all the people that are included in your loop. So they're involved in the transaction. You will always see yourself and your admin in this people section. And once we add your clients in, they'll be viewed here as well, maybe your mortgage provider, anyone involved in the transaction. And lastly, we have the tasks section at the very bottom. I did mention at the beginning of class that you can create to-do lists for yourself in the system. So I know, for example, there are a million things you need to do to get a listing ready to go live. And so you can create task lists on the bottom here, and you can actually save those task lists to load into every listing loop that you have. So you can add tasks such as get professional photos taken, get the house measured, put a lockbox out, put a sign in the yard, add it to the MLS. All the items that you need to do to get a listing ready, you can add a task list in here so you can check off those items. If you're anything like me, I really like to check off things on a to-do list. Really keeps me organized, so that might be a great resource for you to check out. If you want more information on the task section, quick note, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. I do have a 10-minute video on this task section on how to customize it and save templates. You can put attention my name, which is Leah, L-E-A-H, and I'll send that right over after class. All right, guys, let's scroll on to the top of our screen and answer that next question. Great, I created a loop. Now what do I do? So again, scroll to the very, very top of your loop. And under the property address, or the loop name at the top of your screen, you'll notice it says View Details in red. Let's go ahead and click on that. So again, we're clicking on View Details under the loop name, which is the property address in this case. This is a part in class that if you do not follow this step, I will lose you for a little bit. So again, just make sure you scroll to the top of your screen. Under the property address or the loop name, you'll see it says View Details in red. Let's go ahead and click on that. Once I do that, it will take me into the section which will autofill a bunch of information that we can add in onto every single form that you bring into your loop. So before we get started on anything, just scroll down so you can see what we're getting into here. You'll see the property address, financial information. You'll see a whole bunch of different fields that you can fill in the information, and it will autofill onto your loop. This is a huge time saver for you to start here and fill in this information. Not to mention, if you are a new agent and you are looking at some of these forms, which are about 10 pages long, some of them. It's a little overwhelming to know where the information goes on the form. So if you come in here in this View Details section and fill in the information that you're being straight up prompted for, Dotloop knows where the information goes onto the form and it will add it for you. So it's a great learning tool, and for experienced agents who know the forms very well, it still saves you a lot of time to add it in here. So let's go ahead and scroll back to the top of your screen. We need to answer a couple questions here at the top, such as transaction type. So that first drop down, you'll see it says select transaction type in red. Let's go ahead and do that. Select transaction type, and in today's class I'm going to do a listing for sale, so you can click on that, but take note of the other options that you have, such as a purchase, lease, and so forth. I'm going to click listing for sale. Now, once I click the transaction type, and once I do that only, will you have the option to select a loop status. So you have to do transaction type first, and then you can select a loop status. So go ahead and click on that select loop status option. You'll see a bunch of options on what you can select. Now, these statuses are really important for organizing your Dotloop home screen. I do go into, at the beginning of the Dotloop 201 class, which can be found on slmtraining.com, I go into detail on how to organize your Dotloop home screen. So feel free to check that out. Just a quick note on this, there is no way to delete anything from your Dotloop account. You can't delete forms, you can't delete loops. So if you ever can't find anything, don't worry, it's in there. The only way to kind of clean things up so you're not seeing it is to archive that. So you'll notice under loop status, if you archive the loop, that will make it so you're not seeing it on your Dotloop home screen, but you can always get it back. So again, feel free to check out Dotloop 201 for more information on these loop statuses, but for today's class, let's go ahead and click on Active Listing. And to the right here, we have the loop name. I did mention how easy it is to change the loop name if need be. You can do that on the second option there where it says use custom address. So let's say I want to add in my client's name, Tony Stark, for any Iron Man fans. Okay, so you can change that in where it says use custom name, change it right there, and you can click save on the top right, and you'll notice that will change on the top of your loop right away. All right, people section. So in this people section, again, you will always see yourself and your admin for your office in your people section. Okay, your admin can always see your loops. They do compliance on your loops. Make sure that you have all of the forms you need to stay in compliance, and that's how you get paid. I think that's why we do real estate. So it's a good thing that your staff, your office admin, can see all of your loops. And let's go ahead and add our clients to the loop so that they can electronically sign. So this is one of the first things that you'll need to do is click Add Person on the very top right. Okay, so in this people section, we clicked Add Person on the top right. Let's go ahead and put in our client's name. So this can be your favorite TV star, John Smith if you're not feeling creative today, or your spouse's name, kids' names, whatever you'd like to do. All right, so I'm going to represent Tony Stark today. So you need three main things to add in a client to your loop. You need their full name, email address. So if you'd like to go ahead and put in an email address that's not associated with your Dotloop account, so a personal email address that you may have, it's great to have that in your practice loop so that you can see what it looks like when your clients go to electronically sign. So it's cool to see it from a client's view so you can help them as well. So you can put in an email address, again, that's a personal email address of yours that's not associated to your Dotloop account. So we have name, email, and we need role. So role on the right-hand side here is super, super important. Your clients will not be able to electronically sign without a role. So we do want to make sure to click on one of these roles from this drop-down. You'll see a little gray scroll bar on the right-hand side. There's a whole bunch of roles in here. The main ones that are most popularly used are at the top. So in this case, we're practicing with the listing, so I'll select seller on the top of my screen. All right, so we have those three main items we need: full name, email address, and seller. And let me talk to you quickly about this add to my team button. If you are taking notes on today's class, and this is in the notes I sent over, but please make a note and highlight it to never, ever, ever click this add to my team button if you are adding your client to a loop. Okay, so this is not for your clients. So what this does, if I were to click this button here, it would share anything that I have in my loop with this client. And I, of course, don't want that. Okay, the general concept of Dotloop is that everything is private in your Dotloop account until it is shared. So your clients or anyone involved is not able to see every form in your loop, only the forms that you choose to share with them. So we do not want to click add to my team for our clients. But let's talk about when we would want to use it, because it is a really cool tool. So when we would want to use add to my team is, let's say you are working on the same side of a transaction with another agent in your office. So you're co-listing the property with another agent in your office. Again, emphasis on you are on the same side of the transaction. If you add that agent to your loop and click add to my team, it would add this loop to that other agent's Dotloop account so that they can see and do everything in your loop that you can do. So it's a great collaborative tool if you are working on the same side of the transaction. Another great use for it, if you are on a real estate team and you have a team admin or transaction coordinator that's helping you out, you can add them to every loop and click add to my team, and it will put that loop in their Dotloop account so they can help you out. All right, and so you can also add in all of this other contact information for your client. It's not required, but it will autofill on the forms for you. So now that we have that entered in, let's go ahead and click Add Person on the bottom right, that red button there. And you'll see your client has been added in. Now, if this client had a spouse, you could click Add Person on the top right again and add the spouse to the transaction, or to the loop rather. Now, one last thing that you'll need to do is under your name, you will see it says none for the role. We do need to change where it says none to listing agent. Okay, or buying agent, of course, whatever the loop applies. In this case, we're practicing a listing, so let's go ahead and select listing agent. The roles are super, super important, or you will not be able to electronically sign without a role. All right, so we have officially added in a person to our loop. Let's scroll down slightly so that we see all the information that you can start filling in. So you'll see a bunch of fields. And again, what this section does is it autofills all this information onto every form that you bring into your loop. Great time saver, great learning tool, highly recommended. So in this property address information, let's just fill in a little information so you can see what it looks like when data autofills onto your form. So under property address, let's go ahead and fill in this information here. 445. So street number, street name. Okay, street number and street name are two different fields. Gets people every time. We have our city and state. Let's just fill in some information here again so you can see what it looks like when it autofills onto your form. As you're wrapping that up, feel free to scroll down to check out all the other information that you can fill in to autofill on your forms. Financial information, contract dates, offer dates, contract info, referral, and so forth. Okay, so there is a bunch of information that you could add in here that will autofill onto every form. Now, once you're done with that, once you're done adding in some property address information, let's scroll up to the top of our screen, on the top right, and click Save on the red toolbar. Okay, it's on the, you'll see a red toolbar on the top of your screen, and Save button is on the very right-hand side, far right-hand side of that red toolbar. You will always get this yellow Save Successful bar, so check for that. And let's click Back to Loop on the top left. So under the black toolbar, you'll see it says Back to Loop in red on the very top left. It will take you back to your loop, which we are now ready to add forms to. So in the Documents section, near the top of your screen, you may have to scroll down slightly, but you'll see a Documents section, and you should have at least one folder. That one folder might have 3 blue boxes under it. If none of your folders have those blue boxes, you can just click Add Document to the far right of any of your folder names to add a document in right away. When you click Add Document on the far right, you will see these 3 blue boxes. There are 3 main ways to add in forms to your loop here. In today's class, we'll be focusing on this first option, this first blue box from templates. In the Dotloop 201, I go into detail on the second 2 options, so feel free to check that out after class. Again, that can be found on slmtraining.com. Now you'll notice in this first blue box, it says templates, add an interactive form by selecting one from templates. What it means by interactive is that you can just start typing in the form. It has text fields, you can sign the forms, it's interactive. Okay, so just to draw this full circle for you, I do want to point out that this icon on the first blue box is the same exact icon where we started class, right? On the top right black toolbar, the template section. So it is the same section, just to draw that full circle for you. So let's go ahead and select that first blue box that says templates to bring that into our loop. So I click that first blue box, and this should look slightly familiar to you. It will pull up this pop-up box that will have all of your forms within it. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of form folders going down the left-hand side of this box in red, and you can scroll to find the form folder that you believe will have the listing agreement or whatever form that you're looking for to bring into your loop. I'm going to practice with the listing agreement. You can pull in whatever form you would like. It should be the same exact concept. And again, I know your form sets will be named something different and your forms will be named something different. It'd be really nice if all forms were named the same thing. Make things a lot easier across the whole US. All right, let's go ahead and select the form folder on the left-hand side in red and utilize this red search bar going across our screen to search for the form that we're looking for. So I can click to the right of the search icon where it says search to search for the form name. So in this case, I'm typing in the word listing because I'm going to search for the listing agreement. Now you will see a bunch of forms pull up when you perform that search. Some of the form names do run off if they're too long. Just a quick tip, if you hover your mouse over that form name, it will give you a little black speech bubble letting you know that full form name so you can make sure you're getting the right one. Once you find the form you're looking for, you can click the checkbox to the left of whichever forms that you need. And click copy on the bottom right. Just a heads up where this is on the notes. If you're following along on the written notes I sent out, that is the 3rd section down. So if you need to reference that to follow along, feel free. So once I have that checkbox checked, I can click copy on the bottom right. And that will pull that in. It gives me a nice green check mark letting me know that one of one were imported, and I can click OK on the bottom right. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm clicking OK on the bottom right. And I now see that form name right in my folder that I brought in. So that is how you can bring in further forms into your loop. Now to start editing that form, all you'll need to do is go ahead and click on the form name to go into that right away. So go ahead and click on that form name, it should be in bold, and that will open the form in your Dotloop account right away. It will bring you right to an autofill box. This autofill box is our friend. Please never click this X on the top right. Okay, we like the autofill box. Huge time saver. It sets the form up correctly. So autofill box. First of all, in this roles section, it is really important that you see your client's name in line with seller 1 here. Okay, or they will not be able to electronically sign. Okay, super, super important. You see your clients in line with a role, or again, they will not be able to electronically sign the form. So Dotloop already knows that my client is seller 1 because I gave him that role when we're adding people in. If you do not see your client's name here, no worries. You can always click select person from the drop down to the far right of the role. So let's say I didn't know my client had a wife at the time and now I need to add her in as seller 2 so she can sign as well. I would do that by clicking select person and either selecting her name from this drop down if that is available, if I had already added her, or I can just click add person on the bottom of that list to add that client in right away. Okay, so there's multiple ways on how to do that. If this is a form that you need to sign as the agent, you'll want to make sure that your name is in line with the listing agent, or you will not be able to electronically sign. All right, and as I scroll down here, I do notice the property address information is already filled in because we did that in the view details section. Awesome, already saving us time. Scrolling down for the listing agent information, this is all the information that is pulling it from the My Account section, which we started class in. Again, saving us time. Great. And I can scroll down and I can add any information. So you can add any additional information here, and then if you add it here, we'll add it to all future forms you bring in this loop. So it will continue saving you time to autofill. And so we're scrolling to the very bottom of this box. You'll see a red autofill button that we absolutely have to click. So make sure we scroll to the very bottom right. You'll see an autofill button. Okay, make sure that we do click that autofill button. If for any reason you accidentally X out of that autofill box, you can always get back to it by clicking on that black autofill option. It says autofill on the very top right black toolbar. You can always get back to that box right away, no worries. All right, so as I go to my form here, I will notice some of the fields are in yellow. The yellow fields indicate that that information was autofilled. I'll see a little black box on the right-hand side. In this case, mine says 2 roles have been assigned and 13 fields have been autofilled. So to now further fill out the form, all you have to do is click in the form in the field name. Click in the field, and then you can start typing in right away. Right, so that's how easy it is to start typing in the form. You simply click to start typing. Okay, so it's super easy to fill in any text boxes, as simple as clicking and typing. Any check boxes, as you might have guessed, you can simply click to check it. Any date fields, so let's say you have to put in the expiration date. You'll notice a little calendar icon in that date field, and you can simply click on that. You'll see a calendar appear. Crazy as 2019, still not used to seeing that. You can use the arrows on the top of this little calendar to scroll on over to the correct month and click the date to add that in right away. Okay. So filling out the form is pretty intuitive in my opinion, just clicking and typing. It will walk you through it. So now let's talk about how to sign the form. So by the way, quick tip, you will need to prepare the entire form first before electronically signing it. So if your clients electronically sign the form and then you try to make a change to the form itself, it will, one second. Good question, how you can print an auto-filled form to bring it on your appointment to have your clients hand sign it, I believe is your question. Great question. I will be showing you that in 1 second here. Let me show you that in just a second. I promise I'll cover that. It should just be a couple minutes here. So like I was saying is you'll want to make sure to type up the entire form first before having your clients electronically sign it. If your clients do sign the form and then you try and go make a change to the form, it will erase their signatures because it thinks they didn't sign for that change. It makes sense, but it's really annoying when all the signatures get erased. So again, make sure you fill out the entire form first before having your client sign that. Now let me show you quickly how you would go about electronically signing that, and then I will show you how to print the form as well so you can bring it on your appointment to hand sign it. So first of all, on the bottom of page 1, or any page that has initial boxes, you will notice that you have your client's initials entered in there. Now, if you were to print this form, it would be a blank box there, so not to be confusing, that is not your client's initials. That is just indicating to you as the agent that you set it up correctly for them to electronically sign. So if it just says seller in both of these boxes here, that means your client will not be able to electronically sign. It's really important that you see your client's initials in print entered in here, indicating to you that they can electronically sign. Let's say you do only see seller written in both of these. That means you didn't give your client a role, and you would just need to bring up the autofill box on the top of your screen here. So I clicked on autofill in that top black toolbar. Make sure my clients have a role here, so I see my client's name in line with seller 1. And then click autofill on the bottom right, and it would put those initials in there in print. Okay, again, that's really, I can't stress enough, super important that you see your client's initials in print, indicating to you that they can electronically sign. You did set it up correctly. So let me show you the difference. It's a very obvious difference on when the form is actually signed versus when it's just set up correctly so that they can sign it. So if there's a section that you can sign as the agent, if you're on a listing agreement, you'll most likely have to sign that. So I do see this orange box indicating to me that I need to sign that as the agent. So I'm going to go ahead and hover my mouse over that and click Sign Now. Now, the first time and the first time only that I or your your client goes to sign the form, they will be prompted to correct their name if necessary. So let's say you misspelled your client's name, or they want to sign with their legal name or middle initial. They will be able to correct their name at the top here. It only prompts them to change that the first time. So you do have that option the first time, and then you can click Adopt and Sign. Once I click Adopt and Sign, it will put in my initials with a time and date stamp in cursive. So you can notice it's a big difference here between when the form is actually signed versus it's just set up correctly so that your client will be able to sign. Now let me just show you quickly on how it looks for a signature box. It's the exact same concept. I just want you guys to feel comfortable with it and familiar with it. So if you'd like to scroll down to a signature field that you have on your form, or of course you can just watch on my screen. Very important that you see it says your client's name sign here. So I see Tony sign here versus seller sign here. If it just says seller sign here, they will not be able to electronically sign. Super important that the form is saying your client's name, indicating the form knows where that client specifically needs to sign, right? They can't just sign anywhere on the form. The form directs them on where to sign it. And for me, as a listing agent, I can now go ahead and click Sign Now under any other forms, including any other fields, including this signature box. And we'll pop in my my signature without further confirmation with a time and date stamp. So that is how you can go to prepare the form, and you can sign it as the agent. So the next questions are, I'll be showing you how to print the form to bring it onto your appointment to have them hand sign it, and then I'll be showing you how to email the form so you can have them finish electronically signing it. Again, you will run into clients who do not feel comfortable with electronic signatures. They don't trust it, and that's fine. You can simply go in and type up the entire form because it looks more professional, and then print that out to bring it on your appointment so you can explain the listing agreement to them as they go and sign it. To do that, you would simply go to the black toolbar that says File. Okay, very top of your screen, you'll see it says File on the black toolbar. You'll see a few options here, including print. Okay, so that's of course how you will print out the form. And you also have the option to download it. So if you'd like to download a copy to your computer, okay, again, that's just saving it to your computer. You can do that from here as well. So once again, that is how you would go about printing out, let's say, a typed up form, because it does look more professional, to bring it onto your appointment so they can hand sign it. However, a Dotloop, its main concept is allows you to send it to your clients via email so they can electronically sign. So let's take a look at that. We'll be wrapping up class shortly here. To share that to your client so they can electronically sign, we'll click on the red Save and Share button on the top right. Okay, if you've already saved it, it would just say Share. Either one is totally fine. Let's click on the big red button on the very top right. And then we'll pull up the share screen. A couple things to note on this. Starting at the top, so this is our share document screen. We do have this document that tells you which document you're sharing, so you know you're sharing the correct form. Who has access? So it will show you who currently has access to the form. If you can't remember if you already shared it to your client, their name would be on this list here. You will always see your name and your admin's name on this list. And this Add People section. So I can see here that I have my client's name, and I can see I set it up correctly so he can sign 11 fields as the seller. So that's all good. We like seeing that. Let's go ahead and click on this option on the very far right where it says Can Sign to go over the different sharing options. Now the Can Sign option, that's what defaults to. That is the option you'll use 8, 9 times out of 10. Definitely the most commonly used option. The Can Sign option will allow them to do just that. It only allows them to sign the form, right? You're the real estate professional. You filled out the form. They won't be able to change any fields on the form, such as your commission rate, for example. We don't want them to change that. All they're able to do is sign the form that you prepared for them. So that is the most commonly used one. But I do want to let you guys know what the other options are and when to use that. Alright, just a heads up, these share options that I'm going to go over are on the very bottom of the first page of the notes I sent out, so you don't have to remember everything I'm saying. Also, if you hover your mouse over these options, it does give you a little recap on what I'm about to say. Alright, let's start at the top. So view only. When you'll want to use view only is, let's say if you are sharing a fully executed offer to purchase or contract with a mortgage provider, right? They need to see proof of that. So you could come in here and add the mortgage provider in, the email address, and share it as view only. Maybe you're representing a young couple who want their parents to view the forms before they sign it. Same concept. Add the parent in, email address, and share it as view only. Alright, we went over Can Sign. Again, that's the most popularly used option. Now let's talk about Can Fill In Sign. So the Can Fill In Sign option is typically used for property disclosures. So those are forms that you'll want your client to have the ability to fill in because they have that information. They have the knowledge on the age of the HVAC, the age of the roof, okay, the HOA information, all the information that needs to be filled in on the property disclosure. They would be able to fill in the form and then sign it once they've done that. So again, property disclosures are the main time to use that. Can edit in private. So lastly, the main time you'll use Can Edit in private is when you are sharing that to the agent on the other side. So if, let's say you're sharing a contract, you had your client sign the contract and you're sending that over to the other agent. The Can Edit in Private option would give the agent on the other side the ability to do everything on the form that you can do. So that agent would be able to counteroffer, for example, be able to change the information on the form and have her client sign it and send it back. Now, before you get alarmed, of course, when the agent on the other side changes any information on the form, it will erase your client's signatures because, of course, they didn't sign for that. So just a recap of that, Can Edit in Private is best for sharing to the agent on the other side. One more time though, Can Sign is the most popularly used option. So you can then click Share on the bottom right. And that will send it to your client's email so they can electronically sign. Now if you used a personal email address in here and you just shared it, feel free to go to your personal email account after class and go through so you can see what it looks like when a client signs and how easy it is for them to sign. It will show you that. It will send the form over to you. It tells you this document has been shared and now waiting on others. So I can click Done. Now the very last thing that I want to show you in class is how to submit for review and green sheets. So I know I'm a little over class. I do apologize. But if you can stick around, I will be showing you those two items pretty quickly here. So now that we're back on our form, let's go ahead and click on the back arrow on the top left. It's kind of hard to see. It's on the black toolbar. You'll see a little red arrow on the very top left to the left of the form name. It will take you back to your loop. And let's talk about submitting for review. So what that means in general is you will need to submit your loop for review to your office staff. As I mentioned throughout class, your office staff goes through and does compliance review on your loop. They make sure that you have all the forms that you need in order to stay in compliance, and also that's how you get paid. So submitting for review, you can do so by clicking on the very top right to submit for review. And don't do this right now. They won't like me very much if they get a whole bunch of random loops that don't actually need to be submitted. But just watch on my screen so you can click submit for review on the top right. It will give you the option to select which folder. So if you have multiple folders in here, you can select the type of folder. So in this case, it's a listing folder. You can add a note for why you're submitting for review. Let's say you're adding new forms or missing forms, or maybe you're adding your listing file. And you can click submit. Again, don't click submit. You don't need to send that to them yet. So that is how you would submit for review. Let's talk about when you would submit for review. Okay, so this is different, a little different with each of your offices. Okay, each office has slightly different policies, so please make sure to check in with your office staff. You should learn that through Ignite on when to submit for review. In general, there are 3 times that you'll be submitting for review if this is your listing. The first time is with your entire listing file, including things like your signed listing agreement, live MLS data sheet, measurements of the house, listing residential property disclosures signed by your clients, and so forth. So everything involved in the listing of the property. And your office may have checklists on what they require in your listing file, so feel free to check in with them if that is something they have. So if it's your listing, we submit for review 1 time when the listing goes live on the MLS, a 2nd time when the property goes under contract with the fully executed contract and green sheet, and a 3rd time when the property closes with the closing disclosure and all the closing file. Okay, so if it's your listing, submit for review 3 times. If you're representing the buyer, you'll typically submit for review twice. Once when the property goes under contract with all the contract documents, and a 2nd time when the property closes with all of the closing documents. Again, that is just a general overview on when to submit for review, just to give you an idea. Each office has different policies, so please check in with your office staff and they will let you know when they want you to be submitting for review. I did mention that you will want to submit a green sheet when the property goes under contract. Okay, that's typically when you'll submit a green sheet. Again, check in with your office staff to make sure that's what they want. But let me show you how you would submit a green sheet in Dotloop. So I'm going to X out of this. Now, to access your green sheets via Dotloop, you will click View Details under the property address at the top of your screen. So this is where we started in our loop. We're clicking View Details under the property address, or the loop name in this case. So I clicked View Details in red, and you will then see the Submit to Green Sheet option on the very top right of your screen. What a green sheet is that is telling your office how you're getting paid. If you are receiving all of the commission, or if you are giving an outside referral or splitting that commission with another agent in your office, maybe if you're on a team, that is what you are indicating to on this green sheet. So typically you will have to submit a green sheet in order to get paid. Right? And that's on the top right here. If you have any questions on all of this, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. Be more than happy to help you through learning all of the Dotloop tips, tricks, and time savers. And feel free to check out the Dotloop 201 video on slmtraining.com. I hope that was helpful for you. Good luck with all of your transactions. I'm sure you'll have tons in the new year. Let us know as you have questions, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, guys.